What is the role of the other in society? We have been choosing various roles for the other's life within this country. Sometimes they have an active role, other times it is more secretive. The book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep shows how Philip K. Dick portrays the role of the other. He also drew inspiration from various points in time. One of the core aspects of the book is the androids. Their treatment was very similar to a group in the late 1800s. The androids, as custom-tailored humanoid robots, are treated like slaves and are advertised as either body servants or tireless field hands. It's on page 17. Slaves could be used in any way that their master wanted them to be used and were advertised in a very similar way. The androids thought of themselves on Earth, where we're not even considered animals, and make a comparison that every worm and woodlouse is considered more desirable than all of us put together. That's on page 13. The retiring of androids also had a real-world counterpart. Lynchings took place in the early 19th to late 20th century. They were unlawful mob killings of African Americans. Although the android killings were technically lawful and were done by one person, one key factor is the same. There is no trial for either party. The author even spells out this comparison on page 17, duplicates the Halcyon days of the pre-Civil War Southern states. With the use of androids on Mars, bounty hunters were established to hunt down the ones that escaped to Earth. Going back to the 19th century, there were slave patrols that hunted down slaves. Rick, the main character and bounty hunter for the San Francisco Police Department, is similar to the slave patrols. Wanting to hunt down slaves shows a lack of empathy. Rick indicates a lack of empathy in his day-to-day situations. Not only did he not show any interest in helping his wife through a depressive state, okay, I give up. I'll dial anything you want me to. Ecstatic sexual bliss. I feel so bad I'll even endure that. He dialed 594. Pleased acknowledgement of husband's superior wisdom in all matters. Page 6 through 7. But he also did not see what was wrong with buying an animal that was not for sale. For you to have two horses and me none, that violates the whole basic theology and moral structure of Marxism. You have your sheep. When you grasp the two handles of empathy, you approach honorably. Page 10. Both jobs play out similarly in that they hunt down a discriminated minority. There's one problem with Rick in this role. I've begun to empathize with the androids, and look what that means. You said it this morning. Those poor Andes. Page 160. He began to empathize with them, and slave patrols did not sympathize with the slaves. Either way, in the book, bounty hunters still do what the slave patrols did in the 1800s. Isidore is the second main character we are introduced to in the book. He represents how people with mental illness were treated in the late 1960s. During the time this book was written, mental health was just being de-institutionalized. John Isidore reflects the societal standards of the day. In one scene, he said in a low, shaky voice, I almost passed the IQ test. I'm not very special. Only moderately. Page 62. The concept of being moderately special was new in 1968. Change takes time, and that is shown by Rick's ignorance, who says, out in the suburbs, where possibly a couple of deteriorated specials and heads and chicken heads hang out and go through their versions of living. Page 170. Even the androids are programmed to discriminate. A chicken head? Chris said, I'm not going to live with a chicken head. Page 144. The first significant Disability Rights Act came into law 8 years after the Civil Rights Act. Just to put it in perspective, the dust plague devastated the Earth in the android's dream of electric sheep, causing people to move to Mars, but also develop medical problems. The best description of this is with John Isidore's boss. The dust, over the years, had eroded him. It had left his features gray, his thoughts gray. It had shrunken him and made his legs spindly and his gait unsteady. Already, it obscured his sight. In the few years he had remaining, it would corrupt his other senses until at last his bird's speech voice would remain. Page 70. The deaths happened in real life. To set the stage, the U.S. had been in the Vietnam War for 3 years, and North Vietnam is using the force to its advantage to win battles. America had the brilliant idea of dumping 20 million gallons of a liquid known as Agent Orange in an attempt to kill the trees. There was one problem with that. It caused birth defects for not only the Vietnamese people, but also for foreign soldiers fighting. The author must have had some inspiration from Agent Orange for the dust plague. Philip K. Dick shows the role of the other while clearly taking inspiration from various points in time. One point is the 1800s with both slaves and slave patrols. The other is the major historical events that were happening at the time he was writing the book.